on to our next session, which is a fireside chat, and it's an interactive session on the topic of creating self-sustainable YouTube channels. This topic is intriguing because a lot of people said kind of YouTube was struggling in the light of, obviously we have Instagram, Instagram Reels, Instagram videos, TikTok, and all the rest of it, and other channels up and coming. So join me in welcoming Danish Shiwani, founder and CEO of Hashtag, and Aaditya Deewan, founder and creative director at Madhouse Media, to help establish YouTubers and newbies to survive and thrive on the channel. Please welcome them up to the stage.
Greetings from me, and I wish you a lovely morning. Still your morning, yeah.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm sure a lot of you must remember me. My name is Aaditya Deewan. I am from India, and I run a creative boutique called Madhouse Media. So that's my introduction.
So I am Danish Shiwani. I am the founder and CEO of a company called Hashtag. Hashtag is a YouTube MCN. We're also into the business of influencer marketing. At the same time, now we're also into digital productions of our own. We own and operate and manage hundreds of YouTube channels arising out of Pakistan and Southeast Asia region. And we're now a regional company, if not global. And we offer a vast array of services from a complete YouTube management, protection, monetization, and increasing the outreach to other platforms to leveraging YouTube. Thank you.
So, I mean, we'll straight away get to the point. So, sir, I wanted to ask you, what is your definition of a self-sustainable YouTube channel?
So it is a very important concept that one needs to understand. Self-sustainability, my definition of self-sustainability is how you create YouTube channels and content that pays your own bills and your work bills too, and is not dependent upon brand or brand integration for that matter.
So, I mean, you just mentioned a point saying it's not dependent on brand integration. Do you think it's important for creators out there nowadays to have a dependency on brands or?
So I'll tell you, as one of the gentlemen said, everything starts with the pain point, and we also have some pain points historically. Because we were a YouTube management house and also now owning some of our own content on YouTube too, there is a natural temptation of integrating with brands or collaborating with the brands. This is where some quick and big money is. However, it doesn't happen that easily because one, you have to prove that you're good enough, you have the audience, you have the numbers, and it should be kind of a talk of the town in some respect. So yes, although a lot of people wish that the brand comes on board, however, through my own experiences of operating a lot of YouTube channels, we believe that you must be self-sustainable in the first place to give you the confidence and leverage over brands. And obviously, once you're successful enough and you have the confidence that you actually are not dependent upon brands, this is where the doors to brands usually open, and this is how life has been. Yeah.
I mean, see, to add to that, I feel as a YouTube creator, if you have a lot of dependency on brand, the biggest problem for me for every brand is that you have a restriction of a target group, right? Now, I'll give you an example of Red Bull. Now, Red Bull is a company which deals into bunch of activity sports. It's got skating, it's got ice skating, it's got racing. Name an adventure sport and Red Bull is into that. So as a result, it's a very vast audience Red Bull has to get it to its channel. And not everybody will land to a one channel for skating, racing and everything. So as a result, it has to divide its channels. So I feel as creators, if you have a lot of brand dependency, a lot of times you cannot get, as brands, you cannot get every creator to your channel, right? And to reframe my line, I'll say, as creators, if you feel a brand should collaborate with you, understand if that brand goes with your target audience as well, right?
Very true. Of course, every brand is different and every brand's strategy is different, and their target audience is different too. However, as you said that you gave an example of Red Bull. Red Bull to me is in the business or is in the brand sphere of excitement, energy, adventure, risk taking, and pushing things to a level where perhaps no one would be able to get easily. So if I were to define Red Bull's strategy, they're into the business and content of creating thrill, adventure, and lots of buzz and excitement and fun. So we all have to understand the category in the first place. The category is such that I just defined, and then it becomes easier for brands or the content creators to understand each other and create content or collaborations accordingly. Um so it's challenging, but it's not difficult once you understand what the brand stands for and what the creator stands for. And there are creators who are doing food videos, and then there are creators who are doing hunting videos or sports videos. So it is distinguishable.
I mean, that gets me to the second question with your line. Now, people say that YouTube gives you a advantage of a diverse audience. Do you think there's a formula to a diverse audience?
So there are multiple factors to it. Number one, when you're creating a content, keep in mind a few factors. Number one factor is try and ensure that your content is appealing to a larger audience across the canvas. For example, I'll give you an example coming out of Pakistan. There are many channels that produce drama serials or soaps for that matter. And since luckily, India and Pakistan obviously being one country at one point in time, there are a lot of similarities and understanding of the language. For example, Hindi and Urdu has a lot of similarity. So Pakistani dramas actually are consumed in tremendous amount of quantity in India, in Bangladesh, in certain cases in Nepal too, and then the expat community, which is interlinked in India and Pakistan, in US, Canada, UK, Europe, Germany, Belgium, and so many other countries. So you see, a drama created for a country, for a TV channel now has very limited boundaries. It is going across continents. It is appealing to a very large audience that understands the language. So, for example, if you are able to create content in language which is understood by a larger audience, that is a big leverage. Secondly, then there are channels who do not have any language for that matter at all. For example, there are channels of primitive wild. They're not saying anything, but they're just, cutting words, catching the fish, and doing so many other things without saying or uttering a single word. So this is what this is what the beauty is. Create content which is appealing to a larger audience, has a larger interest space, or without language at all, and travels across the world. Yeah.
So, I mean, sir, as far as content is concerned, right? A lot of times you see creators struggling with the concept of high production value, right? A lot of times people affiliate YouTube videos to be something they'll have to invest a lot of money into, something they'll have to, the production value has to be higher, or else people are not going to like my video. Do you think for individual creators, it's important for them to have a high production value, or they should be the natural self?
So, not at all. First things first, um, it is not even a very relevant question anymore. Not your question, but the question of high value, because now you have mobile phones, and mobile phones are upgrading every time. And the quality of the video that you can produce, even from the back camera or the front camera, is pretty acceptable. You can shoot 4K videos, if not 1080 HD, uh, 80, HD quality videos too, in horizontal or landscape. So you have to create content that is appealing, that is coming from your heart and has a lot of meaning and purpose for the audience or the viewers who are going to follow you or going to watch your videos. So it is, please don't make it a roadblock to yourself that we need a big camera, a big team, a high production director, a production team and director and this and that. One device has completely shifted the trend and has given you or empowered the entire globe for that matter. So wherever you are, even the cave, in the mountains, in the jungles, in your bedroom, in your washroom, wherever you are, you can create content of the choice of yours. But you have to ensure that it's coming from your heart and it is appealing to the people. And so much so, just to support the argument, there's so many vloggers now who are now showing their personal lives. I'll give you an example of it, even though it's not on an individual level. Shahid Afridi, have you heard about Shahid Afridi, one of the ex-cricketers of Pakistan? How many of have you heard about him? Yeah, so he's a friend of mine. We run his YouTube channel too. And the first video we shot of him was his house tour. And people were so interested in knowing that how does Shahid Afridi's house look like? How does he eat? What are the settings? Does he eat on the floor? What are the guest arrangements? Does he have a pool? How does his wardrobe look like? And this was one piece of content that has more than 10 million views till date on YouTube. Subhanallah. So it's amazing. And on the individual level, there are so many content creators who are doing absolutely nothing. They have very limited edit abilities. Yet they put on their phone, they lose anything, something happens to their wife, anything, they lose their shoe, whatever comes to their mind, they pick up a phone, open the camera, go live, or just record it, and basic edits which are now available on the phone, and they're able to produce. And there are so many vloggers who are making millions and millions of views and millions of dollars a year. So yeah, there are no limitations or barriers for that matter.
I mean, to add to your statement, there's a line which we say, right? Content is king. So,
Content,
I
yeah.
mean, if your production value is low enough, that does not matter. You have to have good content for the people to
Yeah,
listen
I
to you.
agree with you, but I wouldn't say that it should be very blow power where you're not visible, the light is not proper, or the sound is not proper. That is not acceptable, of course. Uh, we again, I'll just give you an example that one of our cricketing channels called God Behind. Uh, they do that show from their own houses. We've been doing the show on Zoom and StreamYard even before people heard about it pre-pandemic. So we were doing that, a completely self-sustainable channel, earning thousands of dollars a month, especially in the peak seasons like India-Pakistan seasons or India season or Pakistan season, because again, as I said, we talk generally about the cricket of the region and in the world at large. And there's absolutely zero cost to it. Obviously, when I say zero cost, as far as producer is concerned, they're sitting at their house, we access them. However, the edit portion, the thumbnailing portion, the optimization, monetization, and so many other things that are involved in a YouTube, obviously is been done by us, has a cost. However, since we operate a lot of channels with multitasking teams, then it becomes very sustainable. So yeah.
I mean, so you talking about a lot of things about YouTube. So considering that, what is the importance? Because see, if I am an individual creator, a lot of times people think they can manage it themselves, right? So as you for Instagram, you've got social media agencies to manage. For other platforms, you have agencies to manage. Do you think a lot of times creators need professional help for YouTube? And if they do, then why do they do that? Why do they need help?
So yes and no. There are first no one, because there are certain creators who are technically sound and have some creative sense too. So, and obviously, if they're good content creators and are able to relate to the audience, or our audience can relate to them and are engaging enough on a daily or a weekly basis, and can present them their content in a acceptable and presentable and relatable way, then fair enough. I think they should continue. And there are a lot of people who continue. We don't even touch them. We don't even approach them because they're already doing a good job. And since they are doing a good job, there's often a complacent approach, or complacency creeps in, whereby they think that we're doing a fine job, even though we still feel that it can be leveraged or enhanced more. However, more power to them. But certain content creators, and I'll give you an example of Ramesh Raja. How many of you know Ramesh Raja, the current chairman PCB? Yeah, he's also ex-test cricketer of Pakistan. Uh, One wonderful friend of mine now, more than business, it's now become personal friendship. Uh, Obviously, you cannot expect a person like him or Shahid Afridi or Rashid Latifs of the world and so many other people to edit their own videos, to design their thumbnails, to come up with headlines. They can't do it. Obviously, they're good, great at what they say and what they experience in terms of cricket and other games. However, it's not their job. They don't know it, and they shouldn't know it. It's not their headache. So there are certain creators who may not be good or think that better people can help them, then companies like us and so many other can help them professionally. And actually, it's a proven science that when professionals work on something, results are good. Yeah.
I mean, you just mentioned a word called thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
And that gets me to a very curious point. A lot of times people know how to make content, right? You will have creators out there who know what content they should make, but a lot of times they forget simple practices which they should do, right? So, I mean, the next part is what do you think are the best practices? So, I'll start with one practice which I feel is ignored a lot of times by creators, which is the importance of a thumbnail. right? Because I feel thumbnail is your first interaction of the audience with your content, number one. Number two being, I feel thumbnail is like the logo of your company. If your thumbnail is not attractive enough, people might not end up clicking on your video. So, like, one practice being thumbnail. What practices would you name?
So I'll just elaborate. We usually call thumbnail a custom imagery. And why we call it a custom imagery? Because it's not simple grab from from a video and you put it and you put a headline. I'll give you an example. We were just trying to help an entertainment channel who has their own content management system given by YouTube, and they have their own YouTube team. However, they approached us because of our legacy and experience and expertise. And apart from a lot of other factors, we observed that the thumbnails were very weak. It is the first interaction and perhaps the last interaction. If it's not attractive enough, you've lost an opportunity to be viewed. Remember, there are hundreds and thousands of videos being uploaded on YouTube and so many other platforms. Don't forget that. So you have, to me, you have less than a second to make a mark. That's about it. Note this one, less than a second. So what we did, that we created a custom imagery based on some theme. There was a drama series of theirs. It was a beautiful Turkish drama series being dubbed in Urdu. We call it content syndication. We just did not pick up one single grab. We ensured that we made a theme from different portions of those videos and gave it a sense. Now, this is where design brilliance comes in. And this is where professionalism and creativity comes in. As much as YouTube or any other platform is a science, it is equally an art. So, attention to details, the brain that God Almighty has given to all of us, and the heart, that all goes into creating a custom imagery that creates an image that might just enhance the probability of being clicked. This is one. Secondly, it's not the imagery alone. The headline or the title of the video should be catchy enough. I'll give you an
Your
example.
description.
Yeah, I'll just give you an example. For example, because we have a lot of Indian friends out here too, and some other communities too. We often comment on Indian cricket. For example, now if Ishan Kishan just hit the fastest double hundred of ODI cricket, one approach was Kishan played well. That could be the headline. And the second option could be Ishan Kishan creates history, or Ishan blasts the fastest 200, and so on and so forth. There is a difference, isn't it? So the titles and the intensity, the energy, the relevance, the context of the title is also very important. And please note one more thing: the thumbnail and the title must resonate with each other. If it's not resonating with each other, then again there is a probability that it might just not click. Third practice is that you must have hook shots. What do you mean by hook shots? It looks like a cricketing terminology. It's actually not. So only yesterday I was sharing an experience with Aditya that we've just syndicated a content, Turkish content that we've dubbed in Urdu. We've launched a new channel. And even though it is action-packed, high-energy war content, yet we made sure that we had 6 to 8 seconds of high-intensity, brilliant shots picked up at a fast pace as a hook shot. So because once somebody has clicked on your thumbnail, coming and bouncing off from your title and thumbnail, they must be engaged to continue to watch, because watch time remains the key, especially on YouTube, because the algorithms support the engagement and everything counts. So it's a beautiful ecosystem. So then there are certain practices. However, at the back end, there is science involved too. You must have proper tags. You cannot just guess it. Yes, your experience might help it, but you have to pay attention to the tags, the proper metadata, the descriptions, the hashtags that are trending too. You can actually go to Twitter, YouTube, and so many other platforms to actually confirm that these are on the trend. Yeah, and you can also create, slightly longer tags too. It's not only cricket, sports, this and that. it could be Ishan Kishan creates history, or Ishan Kishan double 100, or the fastest double 100 for that matter. So it doesn't necessarily need to be very brief or concise or one word that describes it. So continuously you need to and of course then there's so many other factors. You can actually cross promote. If you're a network like us, you can cross promote. You have the leverage and capacity to cross promote one content on the other channel's video, or on another channel for that matter. Some community posts needs to be done, the stories needs to be done. So there's so many things that are involved that make the magical formula. Yeah.
I mean, there's a very small practice which I feel a lot of times people forget. I mean, see, we've known the technical terms, which is have good hashtags, have good descriptions, have good thumbnails. But a very small and a minor practice for me is read your comments.
Read your
Read
comments.
your
Yeah.
comments of the video, because a lot of times at the end of the day, as a creator, you're creating videos for your audience. A lot of times the audience might leave some good feedback, and a lot of times I've seen creators just consistently posting and not paying attention to what their audience are saying, because I feel it's very important as creators for us to understand what our audience has as a feedback for us.
Brilliant point.
What is
Yeah,
your take?
yeah, brilliant point actually. I'll again share an example. Long time ago, when we started a business, like 5 6 years ago, we used to help a lot of content creators, the funny video makers, and so on and so forth. And we noticed that the comments were just going unnoticed. People were sharing so much love, and even who were sharing a little bit of hate actually had some interest in your content. Otherwise, they would not have left that content at all. So we thought that, why are these content creators not even paying attention, or kind of paying respect by responding to at least a few? You cannot respond to hundreds of people, I understand that, but actually it creates so much what you call energy and involvement and relatability to the audience. They're coming, they're appreciating, they're watching you, they're showing love or a little bit of hate for that matter. Respond to them, listen to them, and actually, do you know what? I'll give you an example. There's so many occasions whereby you create content through one single-minded proposition, SMP. However, you're gathering thousands and hundreds of thousands of views and hundreds of comments. And those are the people who are actually your team, because they are actually sharing more ideas on what content to create and what they would like to watch. First hand free research, first hand, no science involved. You just have to be a little receptive and even maybe mold the content. For example, we encouraged a few content creators of our own to go live and talk to the fans. And we created a very beautiful segment again with Ramesh Bhai. And the session was called Ask Ramesh, because people were so curious about um, some of the topics that were going on, some match results, some performances, some future predictions from Pakistan and India. And our studios, the virtual studios, would be full, absolutely jam packed. Some so much so that if there was an internet glitch at Ramesh Bhai's end, he would be kicked out of the studio, and we'll need to kick out so many people just to make sure that we bring him back. So such was the love from Pakistan, India, and Bangladeshi audience, and even Afghanistan audience too. And people were flocking into the channel chat, that is live video chat, from all parts of the world. So such is the power of interaction and giving respect and giving back to your audience. Yeah.
I mean, see, giving back to our audience, a lot of times people have this term related with YouTube called CTA, right? I remember this call to action term as far as my career is concerned. Whatever small amount I've worked in this industry, I've realized that the word CTA started from YouTube. Have a call to action, have a call to action. But a lot of times it's not clear for creators as to what should be the call to action for them. Should it land to a particular offer? Should it land to what? Because it's a very big confusion. A lot of times people don't understand what is the importance of it. Point number two being they don't understand what should they do with it.
Yeah. So we'll just engage you. What is your understanding of CTA, or call to action? Feel free to interact with us, please. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else would like to contribute? Yeah. Sorry? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Absolutely, very correct. Anyone else would like to pitch in? Oh, yeah, it's done. So we've got the answer from the audience. Call to action could be many different things. For example, if you're in the middle of a video and if you want them to watch another video of yours, that's a form of engagement. The call to action in that matter would, on that moment would be, hey, don't forget to watch my next video. You point out towards your left top of the screen where you've placed a card strategically, and then you're encouraging them to take an action and go to that video too. And we often do if the topic is very interesting. And if you're selling something, call to action would be, hey, check out our e-commerce website, as the gentleman said over there and the lady over there. So call to action is very, very important, and people often are shy of not asking or prompting the audience to actually subscribe to their channel. Sometimes self-esteem or a little bit of hesitance or ego just doesn't allow you to. But there are certain cases in case of, again, Shahid Afridi or Ramesh Bhai, because they're the big icons of the world. They have never ever used call to action yet. Such is the charisma and personality and the knowledge and the legacy that people just keep on subscribing and press on the bell icon. However, it is highly recommended by YouTube that you must ensure that you're throwing in call to action. And call to action could be also tell us something in the comments, just like I asked you. That was my call to action on what I was trying to answer. Yeah.
I mean, see, we're talking about YouTube, and there's one point I think I cannot ignore is there is a comparison now being drawn between YouTube, Instagram, and a lot of other platforms. Because, see, we've come to an age of Instagram Reels wherein sadly we've got viewership limited down to 10 seconds. We've got people who will just limit their viewership to 10 seconds. What do you think? Because, see, I'll put my point first. For me, YouTube is a platform. I remember having this discussion with you, and I remember this point which we started with was YouTube is a place where you get the answers of what, hows, and whys. But do you think YouTube still, after the age of Instagram, holds its importance for people?
So actually, YouTube's importance has increased even more. Because although Instagram, TikTok, and some of the other Snapchat are doing a wonderful job in engaging people with, swipe up sort of content, vertical screen, content after content, content after content. However, you won't find the kind of content that you pointed out on perhaps any other platform other than YouTube. So one thing is for sure that it is very, very relevant and it will remain relevant. However, yes, the as you say in consumer goods that your share of pocket or whatever so you have limited instances of what you're going to watch. So yes, there's definitely a lot more variety available, and that's where a lot of fragmentation is happening as far as content viewership is concerned. However, YouTube has now come up with a beautiful feature called Shorts. And from February onwards, across the globe, perhaps, you can actually monetize your YouTube Shorts too. And YouTube Shorts is just exploding in views. A video which could just get 100,000 views, if done properly and relatably, that same small piece of vertical video can fetch you 2.5 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, even up to 20-25 million views, depending on what you're creating and how you're creating it. So it is a very, very relevant platform, though yes, they are definitely feeling the heat, but they've come up with Shorts as an answer to it. Yeah.
I mean, see, we've talked about people posting a lot of content. So that gets me to the third point of the discussion, which is what is the importance of persistence and patience on YouTube? Because, see, I've realized that while you're building a YouTube space, right, or a YouTube channel, you have to be very patient with your content. And there's this one beautiful line which I read, which I will quote, is YouTube is not a sprint, it's a marathon. But we are in the age of content being very fast paced. So what do you think is the importance of patience and persistence while you're building a YouTube space?
So same goes with life. You have to be patient and persistent, and you also have to be passionate about what you're doing. So yes, long term is YouTube is a slightly longer term game. However, it gives you opportunities to create shorter videos in the form of shorts, or even the normal videos which are shorter, crisper, to the point, that appeals to a lot of audience. Yeah. However, instant success sometimes is difficult on YouTube, which again is an opportunity because you have to treat it as your daily life routine. Whatever you're doing, do it on a daily basis or on a consistent basis, depending upon of what kind of content you're creating. How so? Yes, please be patient. The results will come. When I started off the company, my first earning as a company was $1. $1. That's it. 100 rupees. But actually, I was so happy that, hey, it works. I've earned $1, which means I can earn $1 billion one day. And such is the beauty. So you have to be patient, but you also have to ensure that you're evolving, you're persistent enough, and you're giving the variety whilst and to stay relevant. So yeah, you have to be slightly patient. It will give you results. Yeah.
But with patience, like, see, we've also discussed this point called consistency with YouTube, right? Do you think a lot of times creators or brands compromise on content quality for consistency?
Of course, they do, depending upon who you are and what your values are. Um, but the greed has definitely crept in. I won't name the a few content creators out of my country. There was a brilliant content creators doing some roastings and this and that. However, now they've shifted to daily vlogging, and some of the vlogs do not even make sense. I mean, just for the sake of it, they would open up the mobile phone camera, um, make content which may not be very relevant. Uh, in the shorter term, it's paying off because they're making good money. However, I feel that if you're abusing uh, the platform, and if you're overwhelming or overdoing it, then perhaps in the longer run you might just lose the audience. And it's just that you want to prolong your career, because one needs to understand it's a career, even for media companies like us, but also for individual creators. It's a career now. People have made fortunes out of it, so it is very, very important to not overdo things and do things which are actually relevant. Thank you.
I mean, just to close this discussion with one final statement, what would your advice be for a creator who's starting a YouTube channel, since you come with almost more than a decade of experience in this place? If you had to give an advice to a creator who's starting up their channel, what would your advice be to that creator?
First things first, don't just start a YouTube channel or any platform for that matter just because everybody else is doing it. If you really think that you can create value, you can offer something good and unique to your audience, you are creative enough, you're innovative enough, and you feel that you can actually be consistent and persistent, uh, then I think there is a lot of chance that you can be successful. Uh, so it is very important for people uh, to realize that yes, whilst this is a rewarding platform, but remember, hundreds of thousands of people try it, and a lot of them, just like startups or any new businesses, fail. It's just because they want to do it without any thought, without any planning, without any purpose. So all these ingredients are a must if you want to taste success. Yeah.
I mean, to add to your points, I'll just say that, if you want to create a YouTube space, work on your content first. Your content should be great, because I still remember when back in 2005 YouTube was started, the first tagline which YouTube came up with was broadcast yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
And they believed that YouTube is a platform where you can build a personal brand for yourself.
Absolutely.
And it's important for us as content creators on YouTube to realize that we have to first work on our content, because a lot of times I've seen creators, just for the fact that they want to integrate an XYZ brand, might make a huge change in their script or their creativity to have that brand plug in between. But I feel that's something which you shouldn't do as creators. If your content is good enough, if you have good content, then there will be brands which will flow in if they have to. It's not advisable for you to compromise on your content or compromise on XYZ things to just have a brand integration plugin with you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very important point and very close to my heart too, because obviously we happen to work with brands too. However, sometimes the wish list of the brands is so unreasonable that it just looks like a news broadcast. And that's where it gets a little ugly, and that's where the disconnect is. And you would feel and you would know that if content is well integrated with a brand in a subtle way, then the video does well. If it's a hard hitting, hardcore sell kind of thing, this the video reach just dies. People are just not interested in your content, and that's where the relationship of the content creator and the viewers also die or gets weak. So it's very important, if you're an individual creator or a company like us who are also into influencer marketing, to sometimes say no to a few things that may not go with your brand. And then there are certain creators who actually say no if it doesn't go well with their content. So it's a beautiful mix that you need to find out. Yeah.
I mean, we'll leave it to the audience now, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Pretty much.
Are there any
that-
questions you guys have?
Yeah, sure. Please feel free.
Come up to the microphone and give you a question.
Yeah. Hello. So I'm Hezir from Data Pilot. I'm from Pakistan. So picking up chunks from your conversation, first content is king, and then there's an exponential growth of short form content. So my question is around the fact that short form content is growing, but what about the content quality? Especially for countries like Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, where we see that the content is pretty much around a viral theme or some limiting dance moves that goes on for like 2 weeks, and then there's a new trend. Whereas, like, if you look at the trends in the West, I mean, there's a lot of educational and informative content. But in countries like Pakistan, you know, in South Asia specifically, there's not much quality. So, like, where do you see that going? Like, what's the future for that?
So, one honest answer is that there is demand for that kind of content. So people want to watch that of content, that kind of content. So why compare apples to mangoes for that matter? Quality content will always be valuable. However, the world is shifting. We are experiencing a much younger viewers and audience across the globe, uh, and they're a bit impatient too, and they want to achieve more in less time. So as I said that, that's also kind of content, even though it doesn't appeal to me, very frankly. However, that's a kind of the content, and then there's a huge viewership and audience available to it. And West is a different market altogether. However, just to answer you, if you check out the TikTok accounts of the West, it's difficult to even imagine that such kind of content being created. So it's a diverse world. It's a beautiful world. Different content creators, different people watching it. So that actually is diversity and the beauty of it. Yeah.
But I feel to add to that, a lot of times you as individual creators have the choice to either follow the trend or make content which you feel is quality content, right? That I guess is the beauty of this platform, that you either have the chance to follow a trend or a dance move, or just keep focusing on the content you want to do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Do you want to come up and ask your question? That's great. I mean, I guess it depends whether someone just wants to switch their brain off and have a laugh, or they actually want to learn
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So you had a really good point about the CTAs, talking about call to actions. But I was wondering what your advice would be for specifics. For example, the placements of the CTAs, and also the size of the channel and what kind of CTAs they have. So for example, a CTA in the first 30% of the video is more useful than a CTA at the end, because more people are watching at the start. And then same with channels as well. Like a CTA to go to a digital website to sell a digital product, for a channel who has 100K and who has 10K viewership per video is more useful for that channel than it is for a channel who has 100 subscribers who's growing. So I think there's a nuanced discussion to be had about CTAs and the placement of them and the types of channels that can use different CTAs. So what's your advice on the specifics of it?
So the good thing is that partial answer to your question was given by yourself, which is appreciable. You have the understanding. You have to involve science to it as well, because YouTube analytics are a brilliant source of knowing about your audience, like any other platform. So, for example, if the average view duration of your video is about 5 minutes, you must ensure that the CTAs goes out before that. And initially, because we're one of the pioneers of integrations back 6 years back, so we always used to address this issue of the brands as well, that hey, but the audience leaves, and we would tell them that this is our average view duration, and your integration will be done before that. Or for that matter, if you want to encourage another viewership or video view within your channel or any other channel, we'll make sure that it's done before that, or a small banner pops up before that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Venkat. I have sort of a little complicated question, but I'm just going to ask it anyway, right? So, as a creator today, right? I mean, if you were a creator 2 years back, the amount of money that you were earning on, let's say, YouTube via, AdSense, etc., that has obviously drastically come down, and there's a lot more pressure on the creator to sort of sustain this entire activity that they're doing, simply because, there's no other source of income. How are you addressing this challenge, and what is it that you think the way forward is? And that's one. Yeah.
So the answer to your complicated question, which is not complicated, very relevant question, is simple. One, I don't think the CPM or RPM rates are coming down. It's only coming down if you have a limited audience to a limited territory. As I gave an example of some of the dramas or our own cricket videos, that has a intercontinental or an interregional viewership, you have to aim to achieve an average RPM. For example, RPM, and again, the type of content that you're creating also varies as far as RPMs are concerned, and the watch time, and if you're able to serve more ads, if it's an 8-minute video or longer. So you have to, as a creator or as a media company or YouTube management company like ours, we must find ways of appealing to a larger or broader audience that is scattered and present across multiple regions, and that's where you're going to gain better RPMs. So if you just confine to India, that again is a low RPM region, but the population is immense, enormous, gigantic. So obviously quantity and quality, you still have an opportunity. So the answer is very simple. Just ensure that your content is such that is appealing to a larger canvas. Yeah.
But on that note, are you also looking at other revenue streams to basically, let's say, amplify the type of outcomes that you're getting from monetization?
Yeah. So within YouTube, there are so many opportunities. Like Super Chat is one. It's a premium way of earning revenue, and at the same time, you can also do merchandise. But I really don't know how best it does. For a few creators, it is doing wonders. But for regions like ours, where price sensitivity is extremely high, you would rather take a screenshot and get a t-shirt done in 200 rupees or 300 rupees rather than paying it 3,000 for the same merchandise. However, for example, Super Chat is one option, a merchandise is another option, and there are certain other options available there too.
But outside of the platform, are you talking to, let's say,
Because we've got one more really quick question that
Sure.
I want to get in before we wrap up.
yeah, that was it.
Okay.
We can
thank
catch
you.
up later. Yeah, no problems. Yeah. Anyone else?
Yep, there was one last one. Hi.
My name is Abdullah Jallo. I'm from New York. So I just had one question in regards to I don't know if you guys ever heard of shadow banning or even cancel culture. I just wanted your opinions.
Sorry, Abdullah, can you repeat that
Shadow
question?
banning and cancel culture.
or,
How do we deal
content
with that?
moderation, yeah.
Is shadow banning actual a thing? Because Instagram will say there's
it's
no
not,
such thing
yeah.
as shadow banning. I know it exists. I do.
Too.
It
That's
does
why it's
exist.
I just wanted some opinions.
So my knowledge about this is limited at the moment. So I'm not sure if I can really answer that.
And he was asking about cancel culture with creators. Like we know certain creators have been taken off channels.
Oh,
by,
yeah.
yeah.
Fine,
So
fair
that's
enough.
a problem for creators. So how do they tread carefully in those areas? I think
So
we're asking.
yeah. I mean, obviously, one has to have awareness about the platform's policy. It is very, very important. It has happened to us too. I know for a fact that there was a creator not connected to our network, but operating individually, more than 3 million subscribers, but the heading or the topic of the content was such that it did not comply with the platform. So again, there's certain ways of evading that by slightly twisting your title or headlines, whilst communicating your point in a polite way which does not cause harm to the community or society at large. So Obviously, that remains there because you need to keep the ecosystem very clean and safe for everyone. Yeah,
Okay.
I am
wonderful.
for it actually. Yeah, I'm for it.
Thank you so much for your question. That's great. Super interesting chat, guys. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
that.
very much. Appreciate it.
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Lots and lots and lots in the realm of content.